Good evening and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis, and this evening we have one of our favorite guests. We have Mr. Eric Harp, our certified professional fitness trainer and educator. And this evening he's going to talk to us about fitness tips during hot weather because, guys, the weather has changed. And Mr. Harp, I know you know. So, good evening, Mr. Harp. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me this evening, Ms. Davis.
No problem. All right, so we got to talk current topics before we get started. We're going to leave Donald Trump for the end because there's so much going on with that. But let's start off with, because we still have two wars going on. Give us an update on what's happening in the war in Gaza.
Well, it's unfortunate and so unfortunate that the United Nations is pressuring Netanyahu, president of Israel, to cease fire, hold back from invading Rafah, or excuse me, Gaza, Rafah and the Gaza Strip.
Exactly.
But they're trying to hold him back, and President Netanyahu is saying, "No way, there's no way I'm going to hold back. Full force with the offensive." And so now it's who's going to stop who, because the talks and the diplomatic arrangements just don't seem to be happening. Unless at the last minute, President Netanyahu decides that he's going to listen to the rest of the world, but we'll have to see. And it's unfortunate, but we'll have to see. The war in Croatia, you're not hearing a lot about it right now because, at the last couple months, our Congress has decided to not give any more aid to Croatia, or tie in aid with other bill packages. So you're not really hearing about what's going on in Croatia, but I guarantee you it's not well. I guarantee you it's not good. No, Russia has a lot of firepower and they're getting a lot of money and help from other countries that are not friendly with the United States. But the United States bailing on it's horrible. Ukraine is hurt. My mistake if I said Croatia a moment ago, but Ukraine is hurt.
Yeah.
And that package that they're not getting is definitely affecting them in their weapons. So once we hear some news, then prepare for the worst, as they are as well, because Russia's just advancing.
Yes, they are. And it is a terrible thing because this has been going on for far too long.
And I will add, it's not over, because if and when that they do conquer that part of the world, they're not stopping. They're going for something else. The United States has ties everywhere.
Yeah.
But let's tie that into, the United States is having to make a choice. Who do they help? Who do they help? Do they help Israel or do they help Ukraine? This deal that they had since Winston Churchill or whoever it was that made this deal with Israel.
I believe it was Churchill.
Yeah, that they would have to, that they will continue no matter what to give aid to Israel, even if Israel is going on the wrong side.
Aid and support. And that's a great segue. And we haven't talked a lot about this. I've been watching Haiti. Haiti has absolutely descended into absolute chaos. There are roving gangs. There is a gang leader who literally has taken over the country, put the president out, told him to say, look, if you value your life, you get up out of here. And just recently, in the last couple of days, a young missionary couple was killed. And it's interesting because we're talking about, should we help Ukraine? Should we help Israel? No one is talking about helping Haiti. No one. Those people are on an island besieged by violence, by rape, by murder, by just sheer terror. And I forget the name of the gang leader who's taken over, but he says, I'm here to make things better. And I'm like, well, how are you making things better? By taking things that don't belong to you and just saying, well, we're going to move in here and everybody else, y'all can get out. This is all ours now. These strongman tactics, gangster style, all of this and that. But on the international stage, you look at Haiti. Haiti is akin to Cuba. When people come over from Cuba, sometimes decisions are made where they're allowed to be in, and sometimes they're not. Most of the time, you can come in as a Cuban. As a Haitian, they put you right back on that boat and they say, go back.
Well, I want to jump in here, and with
Please,
all due
please.
respect,
Yes, please.
The Bay of Pigs in the 1980s, and that's what we're talking about when Cuba came over into Florida. When a lot of the Cuban refugees came over into Florida, they called it the Bay of Pigs. They didn't like it.
Right.
America did not like it. It was similar to what's going on right now with the southern border. Florida integrated, or Miami became much more Cuban than they wanted to be. But we're talking the 1980s. America's flourishing. We don't have the internet at every corner and every pocket. You know, dare I say, the Cubans being dark are not as dark as Haitians, and there is no talks of bringing any Haitian refugees. If they see any boats in that harbor, in that water space, they are the Coast Guard is directly turning them back. And you know, that's a shame. You know, we have this statue in New York that says, give me all your poor, tired, hungry, oppressed, yada, 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 except your Haitians.
Right.
You know, and it's sad. You know, it really is sad, because where do they get their help from? Do they get the help from the flourishing African countries on the West? France, who happened to dominate that part of Africa and then bring them over into Haiti? You know,
or the
far do we
Spanish,
go back?
the Spanish too.
The Spanish too. I mean, who do we get help from? Who do they get help from? You know, this is a humanitarian crisis. A humanitarian crisis is what's popping up all over the world. You know, the word humanitarian has lost its meaning. You know, people are not able to reach deep inside themselves and find that, you know, find that heart that we all should have. You know, it's, you know, it's not me to be the judge.
Right.
However, you know, we as a people are at a different point. And what's interesting to me is, you know, as I get older, as I get wiser, you know, what goes around comes around. We've been here before. We have to recognize we've seen it before. Many of us have amnesia. Because once it was done, we're done with it.
Oh, did that happen? Oh,
did that happen before?
I don't remember. I don't recall seeing it like that.
So, you know, I pray for the Haitians. Absolutely. You know, now back to what you were saying, the gang leader. The gang leader is getting interviews on primetime television.
He is.
You know, the gang leader is treated like he's like the diplomatic. You know, he's getting diplomatic royalty. So he's getting the interviews with his mask on.
Yes, that is wild to me to see that.
to see the reporters, to see our field reporters go through the streets of Haiti, you know, walk past the young people in their hoods and masks with the AK-47s pointed toward the sky and giving interviews.
Yep.
No, the TikTok culture is just, you know, it's a different culture because it doesn't matter about being filmed. You know? And what are we doing about it anyway?
Right. Right. Speaking of which, so there was a comical moment in Congress a few days ago. I don't know if you saw it, Mr. Harp. It involved Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett from Texas. Marjorie Taylor Greene decided to insult Jasmine Crockett because she didn't like what she said. And she said, "Are your eyelashes getting in the way?" And Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett just came back at her and called her, "You bleach, bad bleach built butch body something." It was funny. It was absolutely hilarious.
A bleach blonde butch body.
Yes, yes, bad body,
And
bad butch body.
so now I read it, I heard it, I watched it, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, our Congress is in the put our country in a state of flux in
Yes, yes,
situations.
yes.
Now, prior to that day, or prior to that moment, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
they should have been handling business. But
Mm-hmm.
the Speaker of the House and a lot of other of the Congress people were sitting in the courtroom with Donald Trump.
Right.
While they were sitting in the courtroom that didn't adjourn until about 4 o'clock, they couldn't hold the business of the
Mm-hmm.
people. So they held their meeting later that night at 8 o'clock in the evening,
Right.
to which many of the Congress people were complaining about.
Mm-hmm.
And one being Miss Jasmine Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that she just wanted clarification.
She did.
I don't believe that she actually insulted this Marjorie Taylor Greene, who happens to be in every conflict.
Yes,
But
she's an agitator.
you know, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene versus, and then
Yes.
a question mark. It's like
Yes.
that video game, you know, somebody's gonna pick that character, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then it's just a rolling cast of
Mm-hmm.
fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But at this time, Miss Jasmine Crockett, she just wanted clarification and wanted to know if someone were to call another member
Yes.
a bleach blonde, bad butch body, would that be wrong?
Right.
And immediately as she said it, offense was taken.
Uh-huh.
Now, I remember in the background when immediately as Marjorie Taylor Greene, or as they like to say, MTG, but I won't give her that respect.
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, they wanted her words stricken down.
Mm-hmm.
And once her words are stricken down under parliamentary rules, she has to now leave.
Mm-hmm.
She can't be in the room anymore.
Right.
But there was I know we have an idiot as the head of that particular chamber.
Yes, we do.
He said, banging the gavel, kept trying to recognize Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene for 4 minutes and 21 seconds. No matter what anybody kept saying, he said, "I want to recognize Marjorie Taylor Greene."
Yeah.
Which unfairly, you know, gave an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is to end it all. This is just ridiculous. This
Absolutely.
throwing objects and name calling, and there's no work getting done.
Not at all.
No work getting done, and they leave it up to the states. And then we've just now seen another state ban a drug, call it a classified 4 drug, the mephistoprone, or I'm not even saying it correctly, but the
in Louisiana,
in the state of Louisiana, has now banned the abortion aid drug.
Yeah, there's two.
There's two. And
yes.
they're both banned.
Yes.
And so now they're called a schedule class, or a class 4. It's scheduled a class 4, which makes it illegal to have.
Mm-hmm.
So by the former president, and I don't know why people keep calling him president like he's still the president.
Right.
But the former president got on the microphone and said, leave it up to the states. And therefore the states are going full throttle.
They are.
You know?
They are.
And so, without Supreme Court anything, the Supreme Court, I don't know where they are, because I hear about Justice Alito flying a flag upside down.
I heard that too. I was like, what is happening?
I hear about Clarence Thomas's wife being thrown under the bus, working for this administration, or supporting the January Sixers. I hear all these things. But yet nothing is done, and the Supreme Court is not awake. I have no idea where they are.
Not at all.
Not at all. They came out quickly when it was Bush and Gore.
Oh yes, very much
So
so.
they jumped out of the shadows like ta-da,
Mm-hmm.
but haven't heard from them in many years.
Right. So let's move on to Donald Trump and all the things happening with him. Go for it. Go for it, Mr. Hurt, because
If
it's so
you haven't
much.
been watching, if anyone hasn't been watching, the Stormy Daniels was very, very revealing.
Ooh.
Her part of the testimony. Now, the early parts were setting up all the building blocks and the paperwork and who signed the checks and who authorized the checks and who authorized the authorization of the paper.
Mm-hmm.
We went through all of that. Michael Cohen made the payment and
Mm-hmm.
then came back to get his reimbursement.
Mm-hmm.
In a nutshell,
Mm-hmm.
Stormy Daniels got on the scene on the stand, and when they tried to um, impeach her credibility, she said, "Listen, if I was lying, trust me, I would have made up a much better story than this."
Absolutely.
And so, what it happened to be was salacious in some people's eyes and some
Mm-hmm.
people's versions, but she told a very detailed story. And then comes Michael Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they want to paint Michael Cohen as the liar of all liars, as the worst incredible liar there could ever be, who worked for the almost incredible liar.
But he was using
However,
his own money.
but
I said, who uses their own money to pay a bride? I said, really? I said, wow.
well, as he got on the stand, he said, "I love the guy. I would have
Mm-hmm.
done anything for him."
Mm-hmm.
As most people say, I would have done anything for him
Mm-hmm.
until
Mm-hmm.
he leaves, until he turns around and leaves you.
You're right.
And so Michael Cohen got on the stand and told his version of the truth, accepted everything that they threw at him,
Mm-hmm.
didn't get riled up, but he accepted it. And now the defense has to try to turn the tables. So when it's got their turn, all they could do was ask questions.
Right.
They only put up a couple witnesses to try to refute the
Mm-hmm.
Michael Cohen testimony.
Mm-hmm.
But amnesia, it's not about Michael Cohen.
Mm-mm.
It's not about Michael Cohen or Stormy Daniels. It's all
Mm-mm.
about the paperwork, the travel, the paperwork, the mishandling, the mismanagements, the
Mm-hmm.
missignatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Now, let the other stories go on. Let the jury get involved in that. Closing arguments start next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they start on the following Tuesday from my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And in the closing arguments, the defense and the prosecution have the same opportunity, but the prosecution put on a much better case.
Mm-hmm.
So now they get to go back to the documents that they put on, which are irrefutable because the defense didn't refute them.
Right.
The defense did nothing about the documents.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to paint Michael Cohen a liar.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to paint Stormy Daniels a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And, be that as it may, they lied before.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's lied before.
Mm-hmm.
But the documents have a signature on it. And then we'll see what happens. Now, as much as I would love to see law and justice prevail, we'll see.
You're right.
Okay? Because we know who this young man is. I won't say
Mm-hmm.
young man because he's just about as old as the president right now. Okay?
Yes.
But we will see what happens.
Right. Right. Oh, goodness gracious. That was a lot. So I want to switch to, we've had some extreme weather. I've seen tornadoes crossing places in the country where we hadn't expected it. We've had record-breaking temperatures here in the Midwest, especially in Michigan. We've been hitting the 90s. It's May. That usually doesn't happen until like late June, early July. And so, Mr. Harp, let's talk about fitness. What are some things that we need to be mindful of working out in weather like this, especially for our runners, our walkers, those that want to play basketball, whatever it is? What are some things that we need to keep in mind?
Well, most importantly, Ms. Davis, water.
Mm-hmm.
Water.
Mm-hmm.
We have to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep water around. I know lots of people like to drink electrolytes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good. Electrolytes are good to replace lost electrolytes. Okay? We like to drink flavored waters. We like to drink our carbonated waters. We like to water, plain water from the tap. It's better from the tap. It's best from the tap. Now, people say, why, Mr. Harp? Why would it be better from the tap? Because the bottles, the plastic, the water being in the plastic can absorb those plastic components. Now, it's water. Please drink your water. If it's coming out of a plastic bottle, drink it. But the tap is preferred. And cold water is preferred. Okay? So as your body heats up, it's heating up that cold water. All right? Stick with whatever routine you have. Okay? If you're outside and you're feeling like it's getting too hot, stop. Because heat stroke is real. Okay? So stay cool as best you can. Wear layered clothes, the proper layer of clothes. So thinner clothes. You know, we don't have to go out in those thick jeans and the thick denims. You know, we have to make sure that we stay cool. And that's just for anything we're doing. Because moving around in the warm weather, hey, we definitely would like to get moving. Definitely like to get running or moving and doing some vigorous exercise as much as you can handle. But you have to stay cool. And your sweat is good because sweat means that your body is cooling off. So it's a mechanism that all of our bodies have to cool us off when we're hot. So drink more water, you cool your body off. I mean, it's very simple. It's not too much to it, but drink water. Electrolytes are good. Try to stay away from so much coffee because coffee dehydrates you. You want to stay away from a lot of hot beverages. Tea is very good. Tea is always good for your body. A glass of tea is always good. Iced tea is even better. But to stay warm in this kind of weather, or to stay cool in this kind of weather, I should say, I'm sorry, is to drink lots of cold liquids, especially.
Very good. So now I have another question, Mr. Harp, because you talked about sweating. So is there a benefit to working out when it's really warm to help you sweat more? Does that help you burn more fat? Is that true?
Well, sweating is to cool your body off.
Okay.
And yes, you're losing liquids out of your body. It's not a mass weight reduction tool. People sit in saunas. I've seen people wear plastic bags. It's been a practice in the past to help you sweat. Yes, reducing or getting rid of some of the impurities in your body is always good. Always good. But to just sweat, no. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend a little bit more activity, more physical activity, because the more you move, the more your body burns. Inside, you burns while you're sleeping. You don't need to sweat. All of the food you digest, all your nutrients, they're all running through your bodies to fuel your body, and you need fuel. You all need fuel.
Excellent, excellent. So for people who are trying to start something in terms of fitness, is there, because I know you said, try to do it where you can keep yourself cool. Should you work out? Is it better to work out in the morning? Is it better to work out in the evening? Does it matter, especially in heat like this?
Well, if you're outdoors, the evening is a cooler time. Okay. So for those who are walking or doing anything, yes, the evening is a cooler time as the sun starts to set. In the high meridian of the day, it is very hot. Okay? And that's where you might find a lot of heat stroke. For those that are trying to push it to the limits at the height of the sun. If you're working out indoors, most of the places are air conditioned. So, that's not too much of a factor. You would have to even work a little bit harder to force a sweat in air conditioning. So outside, you're going to sweat. Use it to your advantage. Okay. And drink lots of water. Again, you'll cool off. Keep going, sweat some more. Drink some water, keep going, sweat some more.
Thank you, Mr. Harp. That is a great way to end our podcast today. Thank you for bringing us this great topic and all these helpful tips. We are so excited to hear you next month to hear what exciting topic and what great tips you'll bring with us also. Thanks again for being on with us.
Mrs. Davis, it's always a pleasure being with you. Thank you so much. And hopefully our current situation around the world will
Oh my
improve.
goodness. Yes. But before we get out of here, tell us how we can reach you and tell us how we can find you on social media.
All right. Eric Harp 9 at gmail.com. ESQ360 on all your social platforms.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Harp, for being here. Good evening, everyone. You know, you can find me everywhere on social media under Facebook, Twitter, which is X, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. It's Kimberly Batchelor Davis. Bachelor is spelled BATCHELOR. You can see this show at youtube.com/Kimberly Batchelor Davis. You can hear this show at Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, and Wisdom. And you can learn more about me as an author at kimbdavis.com. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you'll join us on our next episode. And as always, remember, be magnificent.